In this session, I will discuss about the normal distribution. But prior to starting the discussion about the normal distribution, first we will have a quick look about the continuous probability distributions. When we are discussing about the variables, we have divided it into two parts. Is that if we are having a variable, then we have categorized it as one as the discrete random variables, and then next case was the continuous random variable. Under the discrete random variable, if the distribution, if we are having a random variable as the discrete random variable, then the probability distribution associated with the discrete random variable is meant to be a discrete probability distribution. In the previous session, we have discussed about the types of some types of the discrete probability distribution. At that time, we have discussed about the Bernoulli trials under this, and then we have discussed about the binomial distribution, and we have discussed about the Poisson distribution as well under the discrete probability distributions. As the continuous, if we are having a variable as a continuous variable, then the probability distribution associated with the continuous random variable is supposed to be a continuous probability distribution. Therefore, according to the nature of the variable and the situation of applying the probability concept, it is important to have an idea regarding the underlying probability distribution. Therefore, it says that according to the nature of the variable, this is what I have explained you previously as well. If we are having a discrete random variable, we are dealing with the discrete probability distributions. But if you need to identify the underlying probability distributions, for the continuous random variables, we are using the concepts of the continuous probability distributions. Therefore, in the previous sections and the previous sessions, we have discussed about the discrete probabilities, and here we are going to discuss about the continuous probability distributions. Here, one example is actually mentioned here, but anyhow, after discussing about these cases, I will just skip it for a while. Therefore, when we are going to discuss about the continuous probability distribution, the widely using continuous probability distribution is named as the normal distribution. Normal distribution is a continuous probability distribution. This is a continuous probability distribution, we can say. This is normal distribution is a continuous probability distribution. But when we are discussing about the normal distribution, we are taking our random variable as a normal random variable. This is a special case of random variable. When we are discussing about the random variables, we have divided into two parts as the discrete and then the continuous. When we are looking about these continuous random variables, the special case of this continuous random variable, we are taking it as the normal random variable. When we are going to discuss about the normal random variable, here we are saying that if a variable satisfy a set of assumptions, then such variable is meant to be a normal random variables. Here I am not going to discuss about those assumptions which are need to satisfy to be a normal random variable, but here if it is given as a normal random variable, we say that we can use the normal probability distributions to identify the underlying probability distribution. And when we are going to discuss about the continuous probability distributions, normal distribution is the widely using or the commonly using probability distribution in the day-to-day life. Therefore, if you are consider any research in the sectors of agriculture, medicine, trade, business, or industry, then we tend to use the normal probability distribution in each of these areas. Therefore, if we are looking about the continuous probability distributions, the most commonly using probability distribution is the normal distribution. Therefore, when we are going for the statistical inferencing, in the previous sessions we have discussed about what is inferencing. Therefore, When we are going for the statistical inferencing, then this normal distribution is also very helpful. Therefore, when we are going to use this normal distribution, generally we are having the large number of data. Therefore, in general, if you are having the large number of data, by assuming that these data follows a normal random variable and the normality conditions, then we are using this normal probability distribution to identify or model the underlying probability distribution with such variable. Therefore, if you are using the large number of data in the real life situations, generally we tend to use the normal distribution. And this normal distribution has been discovered that normal it can be used to characterize the sampling distribution of many sample statistics regardless of how the entire body of data is distributed. Therefore, most of the time, rather than using the entire population, we tend to use the sample data. Therefore, when you are using the sample data, in general we are saying it as the generally we are using the large sample data. It means that number of data points are greater than or equal to 30. Therefore, if you are taking such a sample, we are saying such sample as a large sample. Therefore, uh, when we are dealing with this normal distribution for a large sample, we are not going to see about how the entire population is distributed. Rather than looking for the population data, we tend to use the sample data. If you are having if you are taking a large sample, and we are using the normal distributions to model that sample. And here also it is again saying that where this normal distribution is very helpful in the statistical inferencing. And this normal probability distribution is a bell-shaped probability distribution. If you see about the shape of the normal probability distribution, it is quite like a bell-shaped distribution. It means that if you are taking a set of data for the lower end or the higher ends, we may have them as tails. It means that we are having less number of data points at these two ends, but the majority of the data points will be at the middle of this distribution. Therefore, this is the shape of the normal distribution. That is why we are saying this as a bell-shaped distribution. But this distribution is also named as the Gaussian distribution. It is because of the person who has worked on this formula, Carl Friedrich Gauss, who lived in the period of 1777 to 1855. Therefore, as an attribute for this Carl Friedrich Gauss, this normal probability distribution is named as the Gaussian distribution as well. Rather than saying it as the bell-shaped distribution, we are taking it as just to identify the shape of the distribution only. Rather than saying it as bell-shaped, then we tend to say this distribution as normal distribution or else as the Gaussian distribution. And suppose that now we will move for the discussion on the notations what we are using to denote the normal probability distribution. Suppose that we are letting the x is a random variable which follows the normality condition. It means that we can say that simply x follows a normal distribution. And when we are looking or when we are discussing about the normal distributions here, we are discussing about two parameters. Normal distribution is based on two parameters which are meant to be the mean value and the variance. Therefore, mean we are taking it as sigma and variance is taking as mean taking as mu and the variance taken as sigma square. Therefore, if you are using these notations, these two notations for mean and the variance, then we can say that the random variable x, this is the random variable we are having, and this follows a normal distribution. We are denoting it as x follows a normal distribution having the mean, mu and the variance sigma square. Therefore, if you can see this notation, it says that our random variable x follows a normal distribution having the mean mu and the variance sigma squared. In generally, rather than using the notations, we tend to use the numbers instead of this mu and sigma squared. Therefore, in a practical situation, we may identify that if you are having this x follows a normal distribution having 5 and 4, then it says that in this distribution, we can identify that x follows a normal distribution and its mean value is equal to 5 and its variance is equal to 4. It says that if you need, you can say that value of sigma or the standard deviation is now equal to 2. Therefore, in the practical approach, instead of using the this notation, most of the time we can see the numbers. Therefore, once it is given in the numeric formats, you should be able to identify what is meant by this. What are the values meant by the given numbers. Therefore, you should be able to identify the mean value for the distribution, and you should be able to understand and identify the variance for the distribution as well. When we are when we are discussing the concepts about the previous sessions about regarding the probability distributions, we have defined the probability density function, or simply we have defined the probability mass function. Therefore, if you are discussing the things related to normal probability distribution, the normal probability distribution also have the probability density function or probability distribution function. Therefore, if you are letting that the probability of x equals to a particular value of x, here this particular value of x is a very small region we are considering. Therefore, this can be denoted as this lowercase letter fx, and the equation that we are obtaining for the probability distribution is, it is equal to 1 over square root of 2 phi into sigma square 1 over square root of 2 phi into sigma square, then this times e to the power, it is the exponent, the power is taken as 1 over it is a minus half times, then we are taking this as x minus mu divided by the sigma to the power 2, x minus mu divided by sigma to the power 2. Therefore, this is the probability distribution function we are using for the normal distribution, and the value of x will be goes from the minus infinity to plus infinity. It is going from minus infinity to plus infinity. It is because if you see about this probability distribution, it was drawn in this way. Here you can see that the probability distribution never touches the x-axis. It says that this will be meet at the plus infinity, or else it will be meeting at the minus infinity. That is why we are saying that the value of x can be in between plus infinity and minus infinity. Therefore, the probability distribution and x-axis will be meet at plus infinity or else at the minus infinity. Therefore, this is how we are denoting the normal probability distribution using the notations, and this is the probability density function or the probability distribution function for the normal probability distribution. Now we will move for the discussion of the properties of the normal distribution. When we are discussing about the normal distribution, here we are getting this as a curve. This is supposed to be a normal curve since it is a bell-shaped distribution. We are saying this curve, since we are getting a curve here, we tend to say it as the normal curve. When we are discussing about the normal curve, it is not just a single curve we are having. It is actually a family of curves. It is actually a family of curves we are having for the normal distribution. It is because when we are discussing about the normal distribution, I told you that the normal distribution has two parameters which named as mu and the sigma squared. Therefore, if you are having the different values for mu and sigma squared, you may get the different normal curves. Therefore, according to the mean value and the variance, we are having a set of normal curves. According to the values we are getting for mu and sigma squared, we may get various curves. That is why we say that normal curve is not just a single curve, it represents a family of normal curves. But for a single instance, suppose that if you are taking a particular value for mu and sigma squared, then you will be able to obtain a single normal curve for that instance only, but it is cannot be taken as a common normal curve. It is because the value of mu and value of sigma squared will be vary. And if we consider about this normal distribution, it says that according to the difference value of mu and sigma squared, we may get several curves, but this curve positioning on the x-axis and extent of spread around the mean. Therefore, if you draw any normal curve based on the values you are having for mu and sigma squared, for the mu and sigma squared, you may get the curves in this way. Therefore, if you are taking any curve, this curve is definitely spread around its mean value. It means that the middle point of this curve is always equal to the mean value. Therefore, you may be get several values. It may be mu may be 5, 10, 20, likewise. It may be with that. If you are taking another curve, it may be in this way. Suppose that if I use another color here, you may get another normal curve in this way as well. This is also another curve, same mean value, but difference variances may be there. And another may say that this is the normal curve that I am getting. This may be another normal curve that a person may get. Another person may get another different normal curve in this way. Therefore, this is a family of normal curve, but the most important thing is whatever normal curve you are obtaining, it spreads around its mean value. Always the normal curve spreads around its mean value. Therefore, if you move for the second property, the normal curve is a bell-shaped distribution and it is symmetric around its mean value. Therefore, in the previous property, it has considered that the normal distribution spread around the mean value, and now it says that it is symmetric around its mean. Therefore, if you are considering the normal distribution in this way, suppose that if you are having the normal distribution in this way, then if you consider its mean value, it will be somewhat here. Then if you fold this distribution over this mean value, then you will get you will get two parts and those parts will be symmetric. It means that if you are considering the area which is below the mean value, and I will take it as the part 1, and here I am taking this as the second part, area which is right, which is from the right hand side of the mean value, then we can say that area for the number 1 will be equal to the area for the number 2. Therefore, we can say that the normal distribution is symmetric around its mean value. And when we are discussing about this probability densities, we know that using the area of the probability curves, we can calculate the probability values. Therefore, we can say that the area below the curve, the area below the curve gives us the probability. This is the another theory that we are using. Therefore, if you are calculate the area below this curve, it will be the probability value for a certain point. Therefore, if you are considering the total area below this curve, it will be equal to 1. It is because the maximum probability that we can have for a probability distribution is equal to 1. Therefore, we can take that the area below the normal curve is always equal to 1. Therefore, here it says that the area which is area for the part 1 will be equal to area for the part 2. Therefore, if you have hold out this distribution over the mean value, then one half will be equal to zero point 0.5 and next half will also have the area as 0.5. Therefore, you can say that if the area below the mean value is zero point 0.5, in the sense the probability of falling below the mean is zero point 0.5 and the probability of falling over the mean value is again zero point 0.5. That is why we can say because of the symmetricity we can take that this value is equal to zero point 0.5 as well as this the second part is also equal to zero point 0.5 since the total area under the curve is equal to 1. It is mentioned under the second property. Half of the area is to the right of the mean and another half falls to the left to the mean. Therefore, this is said to be a perfect symmetric. It is because for the left hand side and for the right hand side, we are getting the equal areas or equal probabilities. In other words, we can say, and it is symmetric around the mean value that we are considering. And the next important thing in the normal distribution is when we are obtaining or when we are identifying the symmetricity around the mean value, we can say it as perfect symmetric. It is because the mean, median and mode values are coinciding. Therefore, in the same point for the mean, you may get the mode value and the you may get the median of the distribution. Therefore, if you are considering a perfect symmetric normal distribution, you are getting the same value for mean, median and mode value. And if you the next properties we are considering is as you are moving away from the mean value along the x-axis, you may note that the curve is getting closer to x-axis. But if you are coming closer to the mean value, the curve is going high. It means that it is just deviating from the x-axis. But if you are going for the ends, it is for the right end or the left end, you are getting the curve much more closer to the x-axis. Therefore, if you are going away from the mean value, means that for the left hand or the right hand, if you are going away from the mean value, your x-axis and your curve will be getting much more closer. And the next important thing is curve and the x-axis will never touch each other. If we can say that if it touch, then it will be the infinity. Therefore, we are saying that at infinity, the curve and the x-axis will touch each other. And the third point of the normal distribution is the curtices of the normal curve is 0 and it has only an average sharp peak. Therefore, we cannot identify it as a very sharp peak like in this way, or else it may not be a very flat peak in this way. Therefore, apart from this getting a very sharp peak or getting a just a very flat peak, then apart from these two it will be having a moderate one. Therefore, that is why we are taking our normal distribution in this way. It may not be a very sharp peak, it may not be a very flat peak. Therefore, we are saying that the curtices of the normal distribution is also equal to 0. And simply we can say that the normal distribution is not mesocurtic uh, nor platycurtic. When we are going to, if you move for the next part, it is the special case of the normal distribution. Here we are considering about the standard normal distribution. When we are discussing about the normal distribution, I told you that if you are drawing the normal curves, it is a collection or it is a family of normal curves based on the values that you are getting for mu and sigma squared. You may get the different curves. You may get different curves because you are having different values for mu and sigma square. But once you go for the calculations, this will not be helpful for us for the calculation. Therefore, to avoid such circumstances, we are defining another new concept calling as the standard normal probability distribution. Actually, this standard normal probability distribution is just a special case of the normal distribution. It is just a special case of normal distribution. Its speciality is if it is a standard normal distribution, it has always the zero mean and the variance as 1. If you are having the mean as 0, if you are having mean as 0 and the variance as 1, then such distribution is said to be a standard normal distribution. Therefore, this is the speciality of the standard normal distribution, but the shape of the distribution will be same as the other normal distributions as well. Therefore, if you consider about the standard normal distribution, now it represents only a single curve. It is not a family of curves. It is just a single curve. It is because we have the defined values for the mu and the sigma squared. Since we have the defined values, we can say that it is not a family of curves. The standard normal distribution has only a single curve. Therefore, when you are going to calculate the probabilities based on the probability distribution, apart from using the normal distributions, we tend to use the standard normal distribution. But in generally, we may not have the standard normal distribution. Generally, we are having the data which follows the normal distribution. It means that mu will be differ from 0 and sigma squared will be differ from 1. Therefore, in such situations, what you have to do is you have transformed the normal distribution. You have to transform the normal distribution into the standard normal distribution. Therefore, when you are dealing with the calculations of the normal distribution, what you have to do first is you have to transform your distribution, or simply we can say transform your variable to a standard normal variable. This is what we are considering as the standardization of the variable. Therefore, if you are having the normal variable as x, then we generally say the standardized variable as z. Therefore, instead of saying this x follows a standard normal distribution, we tend to say that z follows a normal distribution having value 0 and 1. Even though it says that x follows a normal distribution, we have to take it as standard normal distribution if and only if we are having the mean equals 0 and the sigma squared equals 1. If this satisfies, then we are saying that this is a standard normal distribution. But in generally, I told you that in generally we may not get the standardized variables. Generally, we may have the normal distribution, normally distributed variable. Therefore, we have to use a appropriate. You have to use an appropriate transformation to transform the normal variable to a standardized normal variable. Therefore, we can use this equation to that transformation. Therefore, for the standardization, we are saying Z is equal to x minus mu divided by sigma. Therefore, this is how we are using the transformation. Then this newly transformed variable will be named as Z. Your original variable will be named as x, and mu is supposed to be the mean of the original distribution, and sigma is the variance, standard deviation of the original distribution. Now we will move to discuss about the characteristics of the normal distribution. Therefore, this will be considered as the characteristics of normal distribution. We have already discussed about the probability density function of the normal distribution. It is given as fx equals 1 over. Here we are taking fx, the probability at a particular point. Here we take it as 1 over square root 25 sigma squared times e to the power minus half. Here we take it as x minus mu divided by sigma to the power 2. But this is not the only way that you can write it. Some are writing it as this way as well. Some are saying it as it is 25 sigma squared, and then they say that it is 1 over it is 2 sigma squared times x minus mu to the power 2. You may get the same value once you solve this. Therefore, I am using this x minus mu divided by sigma. It is because once you are making the transformation, you may use the, instead of this quantity, you may use the letter z. Therefore, we may use this form for the uh, writing the probability density function or the probability distribution. But both ways are correct. And now we will move for the cumulative density function. We all know that when we are discussing the obtaining of CDF, what we have done was, if you need to obtain this fx, what we have to done was we have to integrate the probability density function with respect to x from minus infinity to x. Therefore, using the same concept, now instead of fx, we can substitute this quantity. Therefore, we'll get the cumulative density function, which is say that probability that x less than or equal to a particular value of x, then it is equal to this capital Fx, and we can say it is from minus infinity to x. Then we can say this, instead of Fx, we can write it as square root of 25 sigma squared times e to the power minus half times x minus mu to the mu divided by sigma to the power 2 times d. Therefore, now you may see that how this complex these integrals. Therefore, we are tempted to use some other techniques apart from taking these complex integrals for the calculations. But the concept of obtaining cumulative density function is supposed to be this fx. It is integral of our probability density function from minus infinity to x. And if you consider about the expected value using the same concept, if you are integrating your function from minus infinity to plus infinity x times your probability density function, then you will end up with the calculation as mu. It is the parameter that you are using here as mu. Your expected value for the distribution will be same as the parameter mu, which stands for the mean value. And the variance of the distribution can be again using the theory, which is say that the variance of x, what we have to do is we have to integrate the quantity from minus infinity to plus infinity. We are integrating, it is what we are taking as the second moment around the mean value. Therefore, we can take it using this calculation. Therefore, the successful substitution and the integral gives the final calculated value as sigma square. Therefore, here I am not going to explain of obtaining the expected value and obtaining the variances, but you have to be familiarized with the notations. For the normal distribution, we generally use the notations mu and sigma squared as the parameters. Therefore, the parameter mu is the expected value or the mean value for the distribution, and the parameter sigma squared is the variance of the normal probability distribution. Here we will discuss an example related to the normal distribution. It says that the finance division of a company wishes to get an idea regarding the monthly overtime hours of the employees. And they have surveyed 200 employees, and they have identified that the monthly overtime follows a normal distribution. Here it says that based on their survey, they have used 200 employees, and they have observed that the data follows a normal distribution, and it was identified that the mean hours is equal to, the mean overtime hours is equal to 35, and the standard deviation is 10 hours. Therefore, what we have to do first is it is better to write down these necessary information. Therefore, if I just write it here, we can say that, we'll say that X is the number of overtime hours, number of overtime hours that we are taken for a month. And then we can say that X follows a normal distribution, and it is given that the mean hours is equal to 35, therefore we can say it is 35, and it has given that the standard deviation is 10. But if you are considering about the normal distribution, it says that it is mu with the sigma squared, but here we have given us the value for sigma. Then we can take it as the 10 squared, or else you can write it as 100, or you can say that X follows a normal distribution with 35 with 10 to the power 2. Therefore, this is how you are writing down the or no, denoting the normal distribution. And here you are asked to find out the probability that the employee is having monthly overtime hours in these scenarios. First part is you are asked to calculate it with less than 40, then less than 20, more than 60, and in between 30 and 50. But what you can simply do is, if it is less than 40, what you can do is, you know that the probability density function is fx. Therefore, what we can do is less than 40 in the sense, what you have to do is you need to calculate the probability that x is less than or equal to 40, less or less than 40. Here we are not going to consider about the continuity correction. Therefore, you will get the same value, either you are getting less than or equal, or else if you are considering it's less than 40, we are getting same values. It is because we are just neglecting the continuity correction. Therefore, in this situation, what we can do is we can integrate our function from minus infinity to 40, and here we can take it as, here it is 25 times 10 to the power 2 square root of this, then e to the power minus half times x minus mu is 35, then again sigma is 10 to the power 2, and you have to integrate this function. Therefore, but if you are performing this calculation, it will be really a um, complex calculation we have to face on. Therefore, what we are doing is, we are to avoid this calculation, we are using an alternative methods. But here what we are doing is, rather than using the equation, we are using the concepts and other properties that we have discussed for the normal distribution. Therefore, we'll see how we can obtain the answers for these questions based on the theories that we have familiarized under this normal distribution. Therefore, as the solution, it says that X is the monthly overtime hours, what we have done here. And we can say that X follows a normal distribution having the mean value as 35 and the sigma squared as 100 or 10 to the power 2. Therefore, now we will write down the necessary information which are supposed to be helpful our calculation. According to the data we are having, first we have identified that we are having a normal, our x is the variable that we are considering, the number of monthly overtime hours. And we have already identified that the x follows a normal distribution having the mean value as 35 and standard deviation as 10. Therefore, we have to consider it as sigma squared. It is 10 to the power 2. Then we have again know that we have used that there are 200 employees. Therefore, value of n is 200. Therefore, if you again write the value of mu is 35 and value of sigma is equal to 10. Therefore, these are the data that we are having so far. But in the first part of this calculation, what they are asking is, they are asking us to calculate the probability that the monthly overtime hours less than 40. Here what we need to do is, we need to calculate that probability that x is below 40. But here we are avoiding the continuity correction. Therefore, instead of using 40 or less than or equal 40, you may get the same value. Therefore, what you have to do is, as the first step, I told you that we have to transform. We have to transform the normal distribution into a standard normal distribution. Therefore, for the transformation, what you can do is, you can use the equation Z equals x minus mu divided by sigma. Now, instead of x, you can say it as, we'll try to make this transformation equation in this inequality. Therefore, we'll get here as P is the probability. Here we'll say it is x less than 40. It is the given value for us. Now we need to make the z here. Therefore, instead of making z, what we can simply do is, we can simply make x minus mu divided by sigma. Therefore, in the left hand side of the equation, I am subtracting a quantity mu. Once we are subtracting a quantity, we have to do the same thing for the right hand side as well. To keep the inequality as it is. Therefore, instead of using mu, here I will use the value, it is 35. Then divide this side by sigma, then divide this by 10. It is because now we are having, instead of sigma, we are having the value as 10. Therefore, if you perform this calculation, we can say that this is equal to P x minus mu divided by sigma. Now you can say it as Z. It is because now it is the transform variable. It is Z. Then it is less than. Now we need to take the Z less than 40 minus 35 divided by 10. Here we are getting the value as 0.5. When you are writing this value, always try to keep it with the two decimal places. Always keep this value for two decimal places. Therefore, you will get this value as Z less than 0.50. Now, if I draw this, then I will get the probability distribution in this way. Here, now I have converted, or I have transformed my original distribution into a standard normal distribution. Now I need to calculate that the standard distribution's value, which is the probability that the normalized value less than 0.5. Therefore, instead of 40, now I am calculating 0.5 value. Therefore, what I am having here is, this is the probability distribution I am having. And what we know is, since this is the standard normal distribution, we have transformed it. We know that the mean value 0 is somewhat here, but what the probability we need to calculate is Z less than 0.50. Therefore, we can mark the 0.50 somewhat here. Here we may have the value 0.50. And what we need to do is, we need to identify this probability of the left hand side of, or this green colored area. We need to identify the probability of this green colored area. Now, for this task, what you can do is, we can simply use the what we are taking as the normal table. We are taking the standard normal table for this purpose. Therefore, here what we can do is, we can read out this probability value without taking this integration, this complex integration. What we are doing is, we are using a normal table to read out this value. Now, if you focus on the normal table we are having in the last page, it is given. This is the standardized normal table. Now you can see that for this standardized normal table, actually this table suggests us the value which are less than or equal to a particular value. Therefore, in using this table, you may get the values. If it is taken here x, then you will get the colored area by this table. Therefore, this is what we are taking as probability x less than or equal to a particular value of x. Therefore, the colored area gives you the probability values. Therefore, you can simply identify it using this value. If you consider this normal probability distribution, and here you may have the value as 0, it is the mean value. Now you can see that the area which is below the mean value, here you can see that this is the area which is below the mean value. Now you can see that here you have identified this value is equal to 0.500. It is exactly half of the probability. That is why we can say that this normal table gives us the value which are less than or equal to a particular point. Therefore, now we have obtained the value which are less than the area which is less than or equal below which is less than or equal to a particular value of x. Therefore, this is one type of normal table you are having, and there may be several other tables which is running from minus 3.99 to plus 3.99, but here I am using the normal table which is only given for the plus values. Therefore, now what we need to do is we are asked to find out the probability that the area which is below 0.50. Therefore, if you can read out this probability value, then we can directly write it as our answer. Now, if you go for the this normal table we are having, here this is the standardized variable value, and the inner values are the supposed to be the probability values. Therefore, the standardized normal table gives us the values accurate to 2 decimal places. That is why I have asked you to keep your calculation correct up to 2 decimal places. Therefore, what we have to find out here is, here we need to calculate the area which is below 0.5. Therefore, we are asked to find out. Here we may have the value 0, and here we may have somewhat, here we may have the value 0.50, and now you are supposed to calculate this area. Therefore, you can directly read out this value from the table. Therefore, first we need to identify this 50 value. Then here the first decimal and this the whole value are reading from the first column. Here we are having 0.5. It is in this row. Therefore, you have to use this row. You may use the row with 0.5. Therefore, you have to select this row. And then the second decimal is 0. Therefore, you have to use the first column. You have to use the first column as well. Then first column is selected. Therefore, now you can see that where you have got the cut point of these two lines. Therefore, here you are getting the value. If you see this value, then you may get that value as 0.6915. Now, that is how you are identifying the value. The cutoff value of these two lines gives the value. Therefore, here you are getting 0.6915 as the final answer. Therefore, we can say this is equal to 0.6915. Then we can say that the probability of having the overtimes which are less than or equal to 40 hours per month is 0.6915. There is a probability of 0.6915 of having the overtime hours, the monthly overtime hours which are less than or equal to 40 hours. Therefore, this is for the part A, the answer for the part A. Now we will discuss the answer for part B. In the next part, it is asking us to calculate the area, which is or calculate the probability that the monthly overtime hours less than 20. Here, what we need to do is we need to calculate that the probability x less than 20. Therefore, as before, what we have to do is first we have to transform the variable. Then we'll write it here. We'll have x less than 20. Then we'll have minus mu. Instead of mu, what we are using here is 35 value of mu. Then divide by sigma. Here it is divide by sigma, it is 10. Now what we need to do is we need to calculate probability x minus mu over sigma. We can use it as the transform variable. Now this 20 minus 35 divided by 10, it is minus 1.5, and it is used to keep it into accurate to two decimal places. If you are getting more than two decimals, just round off it to two decimal places. Otherwise, you may not be easy to read out the value from the normal table. Therefore, now what we need to obtain is we are asked to calculate that the area which is below this z less the which is below the value of z less than minus 1.50. Therefore, if you draw this, then you will get your normal distribution in this way. You are getting the value 0 here, but minus 1.50 is somewhat here, minus 1.50. Therefore, now what we need to do is we are asked to calculate the probability which is below this area. Therefore, this green colored area we need to find out the probability. But once you see about the normal table you are having, you may not be seeing any values which are below the 0. Therefore, you cannot see any negative values from this normal table. It is starting from 0. Therefore, what we have to do is we have to, if the values are given as the negative values, then you can use them directly. But otherwise, what you have to do is you have to use the properties of the normal distributions to read out this value. Therefore, now what you have identified was at the first property, second property, you have learned that the normal distribution is symmetric around its mean. Therefore, you can now obtain an equivalent area to this as follows. Therefore, here we can say that the equivalent area to this, here we are having 0. Then here we will take it as 1.50. Here I am taking 1.50 and I will suppose that this value is greater than this quantity. Therefore, now you can see that the area which is below the minus 1.50 will be same as the area which is greater than 1.50. It is quite like, now think about if you are keeping a mirror here. Suppose that if you are keeping a mirror here, then you may get the exact same images. Therefore, the image that you are taking for this green colored area would be this green colored area. Therefore, it is quite like if you are taking the image, the mirror at this point, or else if you are creating the mirror at this 0, it would be better. If you understand it in this way, it would be better. If you are keeping a mirror in this way, then you may get your colored area at this point. Therefore, this is the image you are getting, and this value will be equal to 1.50. Therefore, this is how you are identifying the equivalent area. Therefore, instead of this less than the negative value, we can say that this is equal to probability that we said greater than 1.50. But once you see about this table, you are not able to read out the values which are greater than. Always you are getting the values which are less than the particular value of Z. Therefore, what we have to do is, again we have to use the concepts of the probability. Therefore, instead of this greater than, what you can do is, is suppose that you are getting a line here. Then if you are having 1.50, then the area which is greater than this part and the area which is less than or equal less than or equal to this point, then the summation would be equal to 1. Therefore, what we can do is we can use this concept. Probability is said greater than 1.50 plus probability is said less than or equal to 1.50 is equal to 1. Therefore, using the probability concept, what we can do is, instead of this we can say this is equal to 1 minus probability that Z less than or equal to 1.50. Therefore, now instead of this greater than, you have altered it in this way around. Now what we can do is, now you will be able to read out this value. You are asked to calculate, read out the value which is below than 1.50. It is because now if you draw it, now you may understand whether you can see the value or not. Here you may have the standardized distribution, standardized normal distribution. It is 0 here. 1.5 is somewhat here, 1.50. Then you may get the colored area. Now you may get the colored area in this way instead of the color, otherwise this is the colored area we are having 1.50. Therefore, 1 minus this quantity will gives us this green colored area, which is equivalent to the colored area in the left hand side of the first figure. Now we'll see how we can calculate the value. We are asked to calculate that the probability of first we are asked to calculate the probability of Z less than 1.50. Therefore, first we need to identify 1.5 from this line. Here 1.5, we can have, this is the line for 1.5. Here we may have the 1.5 line. Then next value is 1.5. Second decimal is 0. Therefore, we have to select the first column. Therefore, the value which suits for our calculation is 0.9332. Therefore, 1.50, we are getting the area as 0.9332. Therefore, the value that you are getting for area less than this quantity is 0.9332. Therefore, if you perform the calculation, then you will get this value as 0.0668. Then we can interpret it as there is a probability of 0.0668 of having the monthly overtimes which are less than 20 hours. Then we will discuss about the third part. The third part is asking that probability that it is more than 60. Probability that it is more than 60 hours. Therefore, as the part C, we are asked to calculate that probability it is more than 60. More than 60, first what we need to do is we need to make the transform. Then x is greater than 60. Then minus mu, in the sense it is minus 35 divided by sigma, in the sense divided by 10. Therefore, once you perform this calculation, you may have this instead of x minus mu divided by sigma, you may use this as 25 as he said, and it is 25 divided by 10, it is equal to 2.5, and it is less than, it is 2.5 and 0, since we need to keep it to two decimal places. Now we will show it graphically. Once you show it graphically, then you will get the area that you need to do is obtain is, here you will get 0 here. Here you may get 2.50, and you are supposed to obtain the area which is greater than this. But instead of this area, what you can do is you can you can use the concept of probability. Instead of this greater than area, you can write it as this is equal to 1 minus z less than or equal to 2.50. Therefore, now if you can read out the area which is below this 2.50, then you can easily compute the green colored area by using the substitution or this equation. Therefore, here what I am going to do is I need to calculate the area which is less than or equal to 2.50. Here what it is asked us to calculate is probability that is said less than or equal to 2.50. 2.50 in the sense we need to find out 2.5. The line which is for 2.5 is here, and next value is it is 0. Therefore, it is coming under the first column. Then the value which is needed for our calculation is 0.933. Therefore, you can take the value as the value that we need for our calculation is 1 minus 0.933. Therefore, here what we can do is we can perform the calculation in this way. Therefore, we can take this value as 0.066. Therefore, we can say that the probability that we will get the overtime hours or the monthly overtime hours greater than 60 hours is equal to 0.0662. Therefore, it is how we are performing this calculation. So far, we have not used the integral techniques. Instead of using the integrals, what we have done was we have used the properties of the normal distribution for the calculations. And for the as the last part of this calculation, what it is asked us to do is what is the probability it is in between 30 and 50. What is the probability that it is in between 30 and 50? Therefore, we need to calculate that the probability x lies in between 30 and 50, lies in between 30 and 50. Here also we need to do the transformation first. Therefore, I will write the values as it is. 30 is here, then x is here, then 50 is here, and I will keep some space to write down the transformations equation. Then x minus mu v is used, then minus 35 minus 35. Both sides you have to do it. Then divide by sigma. Instead of sigma, you are having the values as 10. Then you may have the values probability. Here you may have the value as minus 5 divided by 10. It is minus 50 less than Z. 50 minus 35, it is 1.15 divided by 10. It is 1.50. Now, first we'll try to see there is a slight mistake in the calculation. I have used this value in the previous one. I have to correct this as well. Here the value was taken as 9938. Therefore, the calculation should be 0062. Okay, now if you come back to the present calculation, it is actually given as, here we are having the value as 0. Then we are asked to calculate the value which is in between minus 0.5 and plus 1.50. Here you may get minus 0.50, and somewhat here you may get 1.50. Therefore, what you need to do is you need to calculate the area in between these two. Therefore, this green colored area is needed to calculate. To calculate this area, what we can do is, if I draw it graphically in this way, instead of this, what I can do is, first I'll try to obtain the area which is below this minus 1.50. Here you may get the area which is below this 1.50. Here I will, this is the area that I am getting for the area which is below the 1.50. We can simply do this calculation. It is because it is a positive value, therefore you can simply take out this value. But if but you need to calculate a value which is inside the particular range. It is from minus 0.5 to 1.5. Therefore, what I am trying to do now is, now I am trying to subtract the value which is below minus 0.50. If I subtract this area, what I will get is, if I subtract this area, now I will able to get the necessary area which is applied for the calculation. Therefore, now we can say this is the area that we need. Therefore, now again we can give the green colored area. Therefore, what we have done here was, instead of you finding out this range, what we have done was, first we have calculated the area that is at less than 1.50, and then what we have done was we have subtract the area which is less than minus 0.50. Now we may be able to calculate this value directly. Is it less than 1.50? Is it less than 1.50? 1.50, it is 9332. 0.9332, it is the value 9332. But still we are not able to calculate this quantity. Here what we need to do is, we need to identify the area which is below the minus 0.5. We need to calculate this area. Instead of this area, what we can do is, an equivalent area to this is, we can take plus 0.50. If you are considering this area, these two will be same. Therefore, instead of taking less than minus 0.5, I have taken this value into a positive one. Therefore, we can take it is equal to, say, greater than 0.50. Still we are not be able to read out the values which are greater than a particular value. Therefore, what we can do is, we can do some alteration here. 9332 minus, instead of this greater than, what we can say is, we are writing it as 1 minus probability is said less than or equal 0.50. 0.50. Now we can directly read out this value. It is 9332 minus 1 minus less than zero point 0.5. Less than zero point 0.5 in the sense, here we'll get it is the first column 506915. 0.6915. Now we have to perform the calculation. Here we are having 0.9332 minus inside the brackets we are having 1 minus 0.6915. If you perform the calculation, you will get the value as 0.6247. Therefore, this is the value that you are getting as the probability value, which is in between 30 and 50. Therefore, we can comment on the answer we are obtaining. The probability of having the overtime hours in between 30 and 50 hours per month is 0.6247. And this is all what I need to discuss for this session. And thank you all for your participation.